About how many hours of homework do you get a night?
About 5 hours.
4 hours.
3.5 hours.
On average, 4 hours of homework each night.
About 3 to 4 hours.
Too much.
In the United States, excessive amounts of homework has become the norm, but is it helpful, or is it harmful to students?
Today, a new moon is in the sky, a 23-inch metal sphere placed in orbit by a Russian rocket.
According to Steven Skolsman, the head of the history department at Carnegie Mellon University, the launch of the Russian satellite Sputnik in 1957 gave the pro-homework movement a boost, setting off concerns that American students aren't keeping up with their Russian counterparts. In the 1990s, national support grew for increased homework after the U.S. Department of Education had concluded that homework would help students get ahead and regain the spotlight. Since then, there has been a notable increase in the amount of homework given to students in the United States.
Circling satellite, one of the great scientific feats of the age.
Wake-up call. Our president is calling for a modern-day Sputnik moment to catch up. Tonight's new numbers reveal what Diane and I just witnessed a couple of weeks back in China.
According to international test scores in 2010, the United States was ranked 30th in math, 20th in science, and 17th in reading. Some believe that the only way to solve this problem is to give even more homework. But there might be a better way. And to that, let's go to Finland. Through Finland's unique approach to their education system, they have passed every country, ranking almost #1 in every subject, and ranked #1 by the education firm Pearson. According to the education documentary Race to Nowhere by director Vicky Albus, countries that outperform the United States on international tests actually give less homework.
They also agree with one prominent education professor about making sure homework is appropriate.
Many times it's parents who think school isn't serious unless there's a lot of homework attached to a class.
Somebody who gives more homework is a harder teacher, or their grades have greater value. Teachers have been pushed to teach more, and therefore somehow it's ended up in homework too, because there's not enough time in the day to get it all done.
So how is this excessive amount of homework affecting students?
I've gone through bouts of depression just because you feel so swamped.
I almost had emotional breakdown.
There have been 6 suicides in our school district.
Let's hear what Vicky Albus, the director of Race to Nowhere, has to say.
After an hour in middle school, you start to see unintended consequences. Kids who start resenting the schoolwork, kids who become disengaged with the learning, kids who are sleep deprived, depressed, anxious, bored in some cases. And in high school, that number is 2 hours. I think, I'm a lawyer by background, so I think about the labor law sometimes. I mean, why is it okay for our kids to put in 15-hour days when we would never let them work those kind of hours?
And how many hours of homework is the average, say, middle and high school student getting in this country?
Well, I think that's a hard number to get your arms around, but, from the screenings that I've attended, I'm going to tell you in middle school, there are lots of kids who are doing 2 to 4 hours of homework.
And then in high school?
On top of a 7 or 8 hour day in school. Right?
Not to mention extracurricular activities.
Correct, all the extracurricular activities, and that's why sleep is the first thing to go, and yet we have to be concerned about the long-term health consequences of that sleep deprivation.
According to the National Sleep Foundation, 85% of students aren't getting enough sleep. Lack of sleep has been linked to multiple health problems, which include cardiovascular disease, diabetes, obesity, breast cancer, colon cancer, and even an increased risk of mortality. With so many adverse health effects, why is there still an increased amount of homework? Well, many believe that keeping students preoccupied with homework will allow them to not get into trouble or do other things in their free time. But what ends up happening is that excessive amounts of homework really doesn't get anything done for a student.
Okay, Mr. Essay, I say, prepare to be written! I'm doing it! I'm doing it! Yeah! Yeah! In some of these, in some of these. Almost there, and done. Now let's see how it looks so far. The break time!
In conclusion, homework is necessary. It does keep a student's mind sharp and reinforces classroom teachings, but an excessive amount of homework is detrimental to a student's learning culture. With adverse health effects, little academic benefit, and a general unproductive waste of time, assigning too much homework has a colossal negative effect on today's students. Homework should not be a device used to keep students occupied, but rather be used as a tool that helps expand a student's mind beyond the classroom, rather than keeping their minds caged within it.